All right, it's day 5 of Home and Harmony, my 28 days of self-care and systems for a more peaceful, calm, relaxed holiday season. I'm going live for 28 days during the busiest time of the year, which, am I insane? Yeah. But I need it, and I know that a lot of other people out there need it. This is kind of helping me be accountable and make sure that I'm practicing what I preach as a way to show up as the, matriarch of my home, and I'm setting the tone of my home, and I want to let and just help a lot of you guys do the same thing. The way that I'm going to practice something the most is if I'm teaching it, because I want to be a woman of my words. So here we are. And if you didn't notice the video I posted yesterday, and I'm back in Colorado, back from Texas. If you didn't notice, the video yesterday is very grainy, and it was only 4 minutes long, and I didn't outro it. It just abruptly cut off. My live, there was like a well, I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi, which was probably the issue, but it just cut off abruptly. My live was like reconnecting, and then it reconnected. I talked for 20 minutes. It was probably the best live I've ever done, which makes me so sad that only the first 4 minutes of it posted. But we're just gonna do the same topic today because it's really important, and I want to practice what I preach, right? I want to like keep showing up even when it's hard, and I want to be an example of that. So am I annoyed? Yeah. Was that video yesterday a gorgeous background? I'm in my cousin's beautiful office and her beautiful home, and the content was just amazing. I felt like in such a flow state. I was on this like post-Thanksgiving high from just seeing my family, and yeah, so I'm still sad about that. I'm like grieving the loss of that video, but I'm gonna show up here and we're gonna do it again. So I have my notes still. One thing that I got into yesterday that I think is really important, and it wasn't in any of my notes that I was outlining, was this idea that like, if you're a woman, your ancestors, likely your mother and her grandmother and every other woman before that, has been conditioned to do everything. It's like, especially in the 50s, 60s, it was very normal for, oh, your husband goes to work and you're at home and you have to take care of everything around the home and all of the childcare. That's on you. And then over the years, we've noticed like, hey, this is a lot of fucking work and it's too much for one person to carry. And now I think it's so much more normalized to like share the load. Good morning, good evening for me. It's 6 o'clock. Where are you, Satish? But yeah, this is like very normal for women to take on all of the roles around the house. And I think that we're still doing that even in 2025, almost 2026. But it's so much more normal for there to be stay-at-home dads, first off, and to just share the load. Like, everything is more equal now. I think people split the bills more now. It's not expected that, the man pays for everything. It's not so, we're moving away from this like misogynistic society. Is it still heavily embedded in our society, this misogyny? Absolutely. But is it getting better? And is there a progression? Is there this evolution? Yes. I think a lot of us forget that evolution happens on a very slow scale. Like when you look at, I'm gonna go into a mini science lesson, but whales, well, any animal can have this, what's called the vestigial organ. And it's something that is a reduced organ. In whales, it's a bone. I don't know if they still have them, but when I took evolution in 2015, 14, they taught us about whales that have these vestigial like hip bones from when whales weren't just like the one one unified tale. It maybe was two, or like whatever. But this evolution didn't happen over a year or 10,000 years. It happened over millions of years, or like, hundreds of thousands of years. It takes a very long time. So are we going to see this shift? If you're a millennial like me, are we going to see this shift in our society from like fully misogynistic society to not misogyny at all? Probably not. Are we going to see a shift in the right direction? Fuck yeah. And if this conversation can like help be a part of that shift, then I'm all for it. So this change that I want to talk about, this delegation and releasing control, it's also an ancestral change that we can make. And you can call on your ancestors. You can call on, the women that have come before you in your bloodline, even, adopted people, whatever. It's not technically a bloodline, but from your relatives and your ancestors. You can call on them and be like, hey, I'm doing this a different way and I need your help, and I know that you want to help me do this. Like, just having that little connection with the ancestors, is great for your mental health, I'm just gonna say, because there's just like this cozy, warm, light energy with ancestors and the connection with them. And I think a lot of people, myself included, have religious trauma and aren't always comfortable connecting, like with prayer or with the divine. But for me, like, an ancestral connection has always been very accessible because of it being, someone that I knew in this lifetime, and that I know, like, without a doubt in my mind, these people are watching over me, they're protecting me, they're lighting my path forward, and they want to help me, they want to support me, and that's probably been the easiest support to ever receive in my entire life. So, because what this is hard. It's essentially, it's asking for help. It's trusting other people to be there to support you, and it's allowing yourself to receive that support, which for a lot of us who have been in this season of carrying everything ourselves, of doing it all, it's really hard to relinquish that control and be like, you know what, I am going to let myself be helped, because A, sometimes we don't feel worthy of it, and B, it's like it's a muscle that we haven't ever practiced. And I know this from experience. I had my first child in 2018, and back in those days, I truly took everything on, and I was working full time, and I was still, and I was also the breadwinner at that time. Now it's like we're equal breadwinners, but at that time I was the breadwinner for us, and I was still, making sure that the sink was clean at the end of the night. I was also vegan at that time, so I was cooking almost every meal at home and then cleaning all that up. And there just wasn't this division of labor that I have now. And it was because partially my standards were too high, which we're going to definitely dive into over the next 28 days. How many days are left? 23 days. But also there wasn't this allowing myself to receive help. There wasn't, I didn't believe, because I'd never seen it modeled, that I could have support, I could have help. I saw my mom do everything. I saw her mom do everything. I saw my dad's mom do everything. And whether or not it is told to us, that is conditioning. We're watching it happen and we're seeing it. And we get conditioned to be like, wow, I have to hold all of this, like, holy shit. And it's not true. And again, we get to connect with our ancestors, and they get to help us, like, heal this part of us. Heal this part of us that wants to control everything, this control freak. I am a recovering control freak. Have I let go of control completely? Absolutely not. Do I want to? Yes. Am I light years better than I have been in the past? Absolutely. And it's only getting better. Like, I'm only growing. We're only going up from here. And that's why I love this work. Like, how boring to be stagnant and stale. It's just, why are we on Earth right now? It's like to grow and be better humans and be the best version of ourselves and teach people along the way. At least for me, that's what it feels like for me. But getting into the delegation part, right? In order to delegate, you've got to have a few things. Like I said, you've got to trust, you've got to release control. Those are really hard to do, especially when you're not used to it. This is a new muscle that we're working for a lot of you. I just want to invite you to let go of everything that you've been carrying. Like, how does that feel in your body right now? As I'm saying that to you, like, you get to let it go. You don't have to hold it all on your own. You get to be supportive. You get to ask your spouse or your partner or your kids for help in like keeping this home running and going. How does that feel in your body? Like, does that feel like an exhale? Does that feel like a, holy shit? Does that feel like you're gripping and you're like, I don't know how to do that? Like, you're insane, actually, and that's not ever gonna happen. And if that does trigger you, like, good. That's an area that you get to look at and be like, do I want to keep operating like this, or do I want something different for myself? Not from a place of judgment. Again, it's from a place of wanting to grow and be better and live a lighter, more like easier life. That is the point of why I'm doing these 28 days, and also it can set us up for the year 2026 for us to just feel lighter and at ease and calmer. Because how many of you have run around your house or run around in your life and you've been so wrapped up in the chaos that you yell at your spouse or your kids, and you have no patience, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to show up like that. I don't want that to be who I am in my daily existence. And a lot of the times we are being that way because we are caring so much and we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. How many of you have shoulder pain, neck pain, and jaw clenching, and headaches, and back pains and spasms because we're holding, like, energetically, metaphysically, if we're holding a lot, it's going to manifest as tightness in this area. Whether you believe in that or not, totally up to you. Have I seen it in my own body? Have I seen it in other people's bodies? Have I witnessed Reiki practitioners, shout out Ransom Roberts, or Expansion with Ransom is her, online name, but have I witnessed this being released in myself and others? Yes. Part of this like element of trusting other people is also allowing them to do it their way, which is going to feel like they're not doing it perfectly, because they're not going to be doing it your way, and your way in your eyes is probably perfect. But why can't we just let people be themselves? Like, how much do we want to be accepted? Like, I want my husband to accept me as I am. I don't want to feel like I have to change to be loved or to be accepted by him. So why don't we start loving other people the way that we want to be loved, and allowing them to be as they are? And like, if they don't wash a dish perfectly, that's okay. And also, the more that they do it, they're gonna learn and they're gonna get better at it. We have to, like, sometimes it's about sitting on your hands and letting other people around you do things and fail and not do them up to your standards, which is the hard work, and that's where you might need your like help from your ancestors. But it's such important work, and it's truly going to make your life so much easier. It's a muscle that we have to work, and it feels really hard, and it's going to be hard to do this, like sitting on your hands and releasing control and letting other people support you and trusting them that they can do it even if it's not perfect. It's letting go of this idea of perfection, that we maybe hold that standard for ourselves. We can't hold that standard for everybody, and we also can't be holding that for ourselves because it's an impossible standard. Perfect isn't real. And I just want to like normalize this. Like, so many of us do this where we're micromanaging, we're over functioning, we're constantly in our heads anticipating every single need that our kids might have, our husband might have, that everyone outside of ourselves might have. We're planning for it, we're prepping for it. It is draining. That is such a heavy piece of the mental load that if we can let go of any of that mental load, let's start doing that. So this is like the first layer that I want us to peel back of the mental load, right? And the mental load is going to be such a conversation here, especially as we get into like next week and talking about, you know, prepping for the holidays coming up in late December, mid to late December. But yeah, I just want to reinforce, like, you don't have to carry it all by yourself. And we get to do things in a new way. Like, it's really about this identity shift with ourselves of, I'm not the person that carries it all anymore. And just to go back to this like dishes example of my own life, when I was vegan and cooking every night, I was like, I have to go to bed with a perfectly clean sink and it has to be empty. And I've seen the take that like part of that is self-care and you get to come downstairs to a clean kitchen and that feels so good. But what feels better sometimes whenever you're exhausted to just leave some dishes in the sink and knowing that you're going to get to it tomorrow and resting? Like, sometimes that feels great. And does it feel also great sometimes if you have the energy to clean up that mess, and then go upstairs and get to come home to a clean kitchen? Yeah, but after you make breakfast, the kitchen's a mess again. So like, something for me, just sometimes I just feel like it's not worth it if I'm exhausted already. If you have the time, if you have the energy, go for it, have a clean sink, but that's not the gold standard that you have to live to every day. You get to use your discernment and you get to feel like, hey, I'm really exhausted today and I'm not going to hold myself to this impossible perfect standard. And that was a hard thing for me to let go of like changing my need to be having a fully empty sink. And now, what's that, 2018 to 2020, almost 2026, so almost about 8 years. I can say like I really don't have any qualms about dishes in the sink anymore. And it feels really good. It feels like freedom to me to not have to constantly oversee it and be like, well, he's not going to do it about my husband, so I got to do it myself. Like, having that mentality is not great for your marriage, but it's building resentment inside of you. And I just think, I know that resentment isn't in your favor to hold. We're supposed to let that shit go, right? So doing this delegation, trusting your partner, trusting your kids to take on these tasks and knowing that they're not going to do it perfectly, that is a form of releasing control that is totally doable. So I want you to pick one area where you can release this control. And maybe that's, I'll give it another example from my own life, grocery shopping and meal prepping. That used to be a me job. And then I started, once we had our second kid, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need your help. So my husband started going to the store more, not every run, but he would do runs here and there, and he would fuck it up. He would forget something. He wouldn't get the right brand, or he would get a flavor of something that my kids don't like. And all of these things are trial and error. Like, it's going to take time for them to know these things, but also you're sharing that mental load. It's not just like we don't plug in, our husband to a hard drive and input information from our brain to his brain. That would be great technology, and really convenient, but that's not the way that the world works yet. So we have to give them grace and understanding of like, okay, this is me shifting the mental load to you, and it's going to take time, and that's okay. And I'm going to be patient with you, and I'm going to be appreciative that you're doing this for me. another big thing is like, and sorry, I'm gonna finish this thought, but now my husband, he's on like his own health journey, and he is doing the grocery shopping all by himself. He's cooking, he's making the kids lunches and snacks for the next day out of the leftovers, and he's meal prepping and he's cooking the meals, and um, it's been so nice. And it took, like I said, it's taken 8 years for us to get here. So does that mean it's gonna take 8 years for you? No. It's been a slow process for us, but it's been really nice to get to this point and to feel like I trust my husband and I know his ability. And I want to say too, like the communication aspect is so important. It's what you say. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if you come at your spouse and you're like, you don't do enough around here and I'm doing everything, that's not going to be met with like, sure, honey, I'm so happy to help you. Yeah. It's like immediately going to put them on the defensive if you're coming at them like that. So I think it's really helpful to be like, hey, I just want to like have some time to talk. Is this a good time? Hopefully they say yes. If not, you find a time to talk. But you're like, hey, I just feel like I'm holding a lot lately, and you know, the holidays are coming up, and I just feel like I'm doing so much, and I know you are too, and I'm so appreciative of everything that you do, and I really need like some help in this area. I really need you to help me, you know, be unloading the dishwasher every day, or I need you to, you know, notice when it's time to flip the laundry, and I need you to flip the laundry and then help me put it away. Or picking this one task, I think is really important because it's not this overhaul all at once, right? It's picking one small task at a time, and maybe even like one or two things at a time, and just slowly beginning to share that load with them. And maybe right now you're holding, you know, I'll give our husbands and spouses the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to say you're holding maybe 90-95%, and he's holding, you know, 5-10%, at least of the mental load. I know that's like misogynistic, but in my life and what I see in, you know, my friends and acquaintances and family, like that's just a common thread, is that we are holding more of it. So allowing yourself to maybe right now like take inventory of where you think the balance is, and giving them credit too, like giving your spouse credit for what they do. And then maybe, you know, at the end of the home and harmony, maybe you are examining and being like, okay, where's that balance at now? And hopefully, you know, the scales are tipping a little bit, and that's the right direction. And with the whole year 2026, you're doing that more and more. But I want us to really hone in on this like identity shift, that we're becoming someone who is not a control freak. We're becoming a recovering control freak. We're becoming someone who lets life be easier. We trust other people. We allow ourselves to receive help. We live these soft lives, and we're worthy of that. We deserve to live a life that's soft and that's relaxing and chill. You're being someone that lets go of carrying everything on your own. You're not in this alone. You know that you can trust people. You know that you can lean on people. And I want to say this too, like for any single mothers listening or single dads, like I want to validate that you're in a very difficult spot, and it's hard to share the load with someone who you don't have that common connection with. But maybe you like ask, you know, maybe you're a family member for support. Maybe you're asking a friend for support. Maybe you fucking live with a friend who's also a single mom, and you guys raise your kids in the house together. Or yeah, like there's always a solution available. We just maybe have to be creative with it, which is doable. It's just about where do you want to go, how do you want to be, and then making these shifts every day to like work more towards that. So today, delegating one thing, finding one thing that you can lighten your load with. And I would say start with the thing that's making you most resentful. So if that's laundry, if that's dishes, if that's the cooking, if that's the grocery shopping. For me, I think I started with grocery shopping, and oh, my foot is asleep. And that was helpful. And I'm gonna give us a lot of like helpful tips too with when it comes to the holidays and shopping. Like I've really always shared those responsibilities with my husband. And I'll give you more tips on that in a later one. Like I said, next week I'll probably have a whole video on sharing the, you know, the division of labor during the holidays, because that's something I'm really passionate about, and it's something I really think I've aced from the time that we had small kids. A small kid. We just started with one. Oh my God, my foot is driving me crazy. But just to wrap up here, the whole point of this is that delegation creates more ease, it creates more freedom for you, it creates more opportunities for connection, and it decreases your mental load. It's opening up space for you to feel lighter and more at ease, and to be this person that's more patient, more calm, especially during the holidays. And isn't that worthy, you know? And if none of that resonates with you, then what is it that you do want to do? Like, what is the identity that you do want to step into? What is something that you do want to let go of and shed, and maybe like bring something in, you know? We've got to shed it and let it go. So we've got to release the control freak. We've got to, just let it go and trust people more, and delegate. And we're allowed to be supported in that way. I think that's everything, guys. And just to reiterate, like, I know it's hard. I know this is tricky. I know we've done really intense work these last few days, and I know it's hard, but you can do it. And I promise you it's going to be so worth it, because, you know, if you're starting these things now during this time, and then you're going to be next year, like imagine where you can be if you really are serious about changing some of these habits that are keeping you stressed and rigid and anxious and just running around impatient and road ragey and, you know, all of those things. If this lands for you, please engage with me. Like, let me know, comment below, and let me know what you're working on. Like, let me know what this brought up for you. I would truly love to know. I'd love to be on this journey with you and be interacting with people. I know I'm not telling anyone like when exactly I'm going live, because I'm kind of just doing it spur of the moment, but I would love to connect with you guys in the comments and just hear about how it's going for you or what you're struggling with. I'm happy to offer that support and just show up for you guys and show up for myself. So if you want to work with me more, like explore my offers, feel free to go to my website, rainbowrach.com. I'm going to link it in the description box below. And you can find more information about me down there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find ways to connect with me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll drop those links as well. So stay connected, and I'm so proud of you guys. I'm proud of everyone for showing up, and I know this is hard work, but you can do it, and call on your ancestors when you need support, and I'm also here to support you however I can.